record.
Oh, hang on. It takes a minute to filter through anyway. What do I have to do, Ben? Is it in more? Oh, shit.
Security.
Oh, is that what it is?
Share screen, start video.
Can you ask again, Noble?
Yeah, I wasn't on the right screen. Just try and record again and see if something pops up at our end.
Please ask host to give permission.
All right, try the 3 dots.
No, that's live.
Oh,
why isn't it doing it?
Security
Participants. Let's go on.
Yes, if you go into the settings and in general and all that stuff, it should be when you're able
allow
to
record local files. There we go.
Yeah.
Yep. That should be all right.
Right. Hopefully it'll work.
Oh,
for
I've
you
got
now.
it. Yes, host allows you to record. There we go. We have
Oh my
technology.
god! I fucking hate this shit, man.
No, actually, what am I doing? I'm sitting here. In my background, okay. You can't hear any background. So I've got my wife eating at the moment.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of ambience.
Yeah, this is the the soundtrack. This is the soundtrack. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Recording in progress.
CFR Network, CFR News. Shalom, balance, good day, good night, all. Niha, wassalam, namaste, all of the universal greetings. Back, diligently working hard in the lab. I have some local guys with me today. Not too far, a couple 100 miles maybe, or 100 plus miles away. Thankfully, I have survived the zombie apocalypse. Thank yourself for tuning in, and thank yourself for also surviving the apocalypse. We are here today to enlighten, to edutain, to share, and to have a good old conversation. I welcome to the broadcast the Amish Inquisition.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey.
Hello.
Well, how are we doing, gentlemen?
Oh, fair to middling. Get in there.
Yeah.
Get in there.
That's your that's your standard answer to that, isn't
That's
it?
the top. That's as high as I can go.
We're doing it. We're doing it for the lads.
The lads.
Yes.
Lads.
Oh yes.
Glad to hear you survived the zombie apocalypse, Noble.
Yeah, it was a tough one. It was a very tough one. I have never been a proponent of saying that there is nothing out there. I've always said that there is something out there, but the shameful media, the mainstream media, and the powers that should have never have been have created something different. So I would reinforce everyone to still wash their hands and be diligent. As much as possible. Keep your mental health in check. Keep your physical health in check. And trust me, you will survive as well if you haven't taken the wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Oh, the magic juice for the old
COVID.
The old Jim Jones juice. That's, seems to have... Miraculously, it's all disappeared from the media now. I don't see any daily death counts or anything, gentlemen.
Weird that, isn't it? As soon as a war breaks out, it's like...
All it took was the threat of nuclear war.
Yeah. It's funny. I got a letter through on Friday inviting my kids to come forward for their dose of the magic juice.
Get boosted now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I've got it actually. I got the...
I didn't.
I got a letter.
Was that from the NHS directly, or?
Yes, from the NHS. I got a letter and a flyer. COVID vaccination for your child aged 5 to 11. We are writing to you as your child is eligible to be vaccinated against COVID-19. This letter shows you how you can get their first dose of the vaccine. Blah, 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 blah. And then, some bits of information, a bit about consent, and a flyer telling you all about how wonderful it is. But one thing it doesn't say anything about is people who've had the virus? Because both my kids have natural immunity now.
There's no way that guy is 5 to 11.
No, he's at least 35, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not in the age group. He's cheating.
Yeah.
The insanity of it all. I mean, guys, do you remember the Tamiflu scandal and the billions millions that was that's still they're still paying for it to be stored.
Yeah, and they
on
just
the off chance,
and they just don't use it. We played a clip earlier in the pandemic. Must have been 2020. We played a clip from, I think it was Channel 4 News in the sort of maybe a year after because was that for swine flu or H1N1?
Yeah, one of the two. Yeah,
and we played a clip about a news report of the billions. At the time, it was billions of pounds of doses that had been stockpiled and were just going to waste. And I think the Germans were looking at legal action against someone or other. And I remember playing the clip and just saying, "Look, we just got short memories, haven't we? We know what this is about, and we know why they're so desperate to get it into the young guns, because they've already bought them. They've already bought them, and they have to give them out. Otherwise, they're going to be left with a stockpile that no one wants, and they'll get pilloried for wasting all our money again.
Yeah. Hence, we have the theatre, in my humble opinion, I will stress, of the Ukrainian Russian saga that we have. It's very unfortunate if any innocent civilians have been caught up and their lives have been taken, but this is just absolute madness what is going on over there.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've not been following it because I just don't have the energy. And there is so much... There's propaganda on both sides. And I don't know how you can make any sense of it just by watching our mainstream news, because we know how useless they are. So it seems like you either watch our mainstream news or you watch Russia Today. Or you watch both and try and pick through it. I mean, I just don't think you're going to get a truly honest picture either way. So I'm not going to waste any energy on it, to be honest. Although I agree with you, I think it is tragic, and there obviously are innocent people who are dying. And there's going to be a humanitarian crisis. And what people really aren't talking about is the fallout from this through grain supply and fertilizer and stuff like this.
Yes,
and
I'm glad you mentioned that.
And this'll hurt us in a bit of inflation, and it could be quite nasty inflation, and we could have food shortages. But it's really going to fuck over people in the developing world, people in Africa and Asia who are just going to. There's a real risk of massive famine in the developing world because of this.
I reckon China will step in and offer their...
Yeah, in exchange for some nice contracts for minerals and precious metals. That's how they do it, yeah. And they've been stockpiling grain for quite a while, Chinese. Yeah, it's not good, is it?
It isn't. It really isn't. It's so unfortunate that, a situation. I mean, let's also add into that the new gas line that's being done. That's going to bypass Ukraine, go through the Caspian Sea, etc., link up in Turkey. No one's necessarily even talking about that element in the control of the gas supply. All they're talking about is, your bills are going to go up to maybe £2,000+ by the end of this year. Oh, we don't know why, but we kind of know why, because we're having a little spat over there in the Eastern Bloc. They're not putting the two and two together to give the general members of the public a little bit more of a clearer understanding of, is this just about territory? Is it that the EU wants to have this further peace encroaching further into the old Soviet Union, the USSR, and have that EU section in there and have the UN there directly in the old former states? Or is it other things?
Well, I mean, you've got Latvia and Lithuania, Poland.
Well, I think they're already in the EU.
Well, they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Hasn't Ursula von der Leyen, been making noises about getting Ukraine into the EU?
Yes.
Which would mean the euro.
Exactly.
And this isn't a reflection on the Ukrainian people, but it's an incredibly corrupt country as far as the business dealings and the people in power. Mm-hmm. I don't know how a comedian ends up with a fortune of 1.4 billion or however much he's got, but it's not through his comedy sketches.
Is that what he's got a?
He's a pretty wealthy guy, Zelensky.
Why? Well, I thought, that he was backed by a billionaire.
I'm sure he is.
How he got in power. That's how he got in power. I've not heard that he has.
He was in
acquired
personal fortune.
He was in the Panama Papers. You remember that scandal a few years ago?
Right. Okay.
Zelensky. To do with his wife and production companies and squirreling money away offshore.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Okay. So he's worth that much, is he?
Well, I don't know the exact figure. Probably only he and his wife know, because, there's this veil of, what would you say? A veil of...
protection from the corruption?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, I mean, how that would work with this country coming into the EU and then presumably the euro, although that's not a done deal. I think they usually do some sort of deal where you agree to accept the euro in principle once the economic conditions are
stable.
So good luck waiting for that. But,
that's what messed us up joining the euro, wasn't it? Basically, we panicked. Well, probably made a decent decision at the time, but it sent inflation wild, didn't it, or something? Since you remember in the early 90s when we sort of...
Oh, when we joined the EU itself?
No, we kind of... I can't remember what it was called.
That was
something agreement.
No, Maastricht. No.
Yeah, that's it.
No,
is
it's
it that?
The ERM, the exchange rate mechanism.
Yeah, so you have to track Germany's basically economic conditions, and it fucks up our economy.
Well, it was George Soros who fucked the economy.
Oh, right. Okay.
He shorted the pound, didn't he? And he nearly made us bust.
Right.
He nearly busted.
Good old George.
Yeah, he's got form in this regard, playing with currency. I bet he's in rubles. I bet he was buying rubles when they were on the floor a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
And look at his hands. Look at him proudly at I can't remember what meeting he was at, and he was proudly talking about, oh yes, I funded Ukraine. I funded them, and I did stuff, and I made lots of change there in Ukraine. And yes, it was wonderful doing that kind of stuff. It's exhilarating.
Well, he's got to look after his son, hasn't he, Zelensky?
Wow.
Have you not seen that meme? There's a meme with two front-on pictures, Zelensky and George Soros, and they look like father and son. Not saying it's true, but
Well, that's a good one.
Different surnames.
Should we start that?
Would not be surprised. Would not be surprised.
That can be the YouTube title.
Yeah, the thumbnail.
Yeah.
George Soros's demon sperm getting everywhere.
George Soros' secret son, Zelensky.
Well, it's not too dissimilar to Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, who wanted to, repopulate the world with his semen.
Go on. You got to expound on that, Noble.
Okay, so he was involved in this a project which he funded, where he was basically the idea and the ethos was that he wanted to store his semen and basically impregnate hundreds of women with his own semen. Yeah.
Jeez.
What a creep.
Twilight Zone.
What a player.
Twilight, yeah. he's on these guys, these entities. I won't even call them human beings. These entities, they have a different mindset.
Mm. Yeah.
Making $1 million. Oh, what is fiat currency? That means nothing. These are just digits on a computer screen or paper money. What else can excite me?
I like the way. Have you had the Mad Hatter on your show, Jeff?
No.
Jeff Hunt.
No.
Oh, right. I'll put you in touch with him. He's like a spiritual alchemist. And he talks about money as being energy transfer. So, like, you put your energy into whatever your labor is or your profession, and you exchanging your energy for this fiat currency. And then when you pay that forward, it's the same thing. You're exchanging. It's an energy transfer.
Indeed.
It's just a really cool way of describing it, because we get focused on like ones and zeros on a screen or a bank balance or whatever, and we don't really think about what it is and what it means. And it's like it represents your life energy that you've been recompensed for.
You hit the nail on the head with that, because that is exactly what takes place. We are little batteries full of energy, and through an 8-hour day, depending on what your profession is, you have to give your energy, and as a reward for you giving your energy, they give you promise to pay the bearer notes.
Yeah. If you're lucky, it might just be ones and zeros on a screen. And then, whoops, stock market crash.
Yes.
Oh, no. That pension you've been paying into for 30 years? Not worth so much. Sorry. You should have put it in Bitcoin.
Oh, gosh.
I remember I was talking to me uncle a couple of years ago, and he was in the building trade, and he used to work away. He worked away pretty much all his professional life and did really well working down London, you see, because you earn twice as much. But
of course.
it's not much.
If not 3 times as much.
Yeah. But it's not much of a life. You're away from your family 5 nights a week, and all the rest of it. You miss out on a lot. And he retired. And then there was the 2007-8 crash, and his pension tanked. It was essentially, he didn't have enough to retire on anymore, and he had to go back to work.
Wow.
And I remember him saying, put it in property, bricks and mortar.
Exactly. Bricks and mortar, semi-precious metals.
Yeah. A Bitcoin.
But I'm with that ethos of sorts. Excuse me. But because it's such a complex minefield of sorts to the lay, I haven't actually committed to dabble in this decentralized monetary system. I think the idea of it's good.
You've done a bit then, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done a bit. They've dabbled in
not
Ethereum.
Bitcoin, but in ancillary ones, haven't you? Quite a few.
Yeah,
Cryptos.
Ethereum and some other shit coins. Mana was good. The Decentraland coin was worth nothing when I bought a few of them, and now it's worth a lot more. Unfortunately, I sold it when it was worth half what it's worth now. But that's what you do. You get off the elevator whenever you feel comfortable. Yeah, crypto kitties. That was the first sort of NFT back in the day, 2000 and whatever it was. Can't have been that long ago, surely.
I think it was pre-studio in the back of Phil's garage, so
right, wow.
2017 maybe.
In the before
5
times.
years? Yeah. I remember you saying you bought them then.
Yeah, double.
I have a concern, and I guess it's for the people who are really into crypto and stuff. They may have a very simple work around this, but just knowing how the powers that should have never have been are, and they know the power in which individuals are having by utilizing these alternative cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin, for instance. And now they're trying themselves to create one in America, one over here as well. They're talking about it very frequently. For
Canada now as well.
Yes, but not just the fact that it's a cryptocurrency. They want to link it to all types of other parts of your life. So based upon all that, I say that to say, when the grid goes down, which I think is going to be I don't know when, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be having power shortages and stuff like that for some explainable reason. I have no idea. But when the power goes down, how do we access the cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
Pulling leaves off trees at that point.
This is it. Yeah. And at that point, you have to go back to very rudimentary bartering and selling and exchange of services for goods, etc., etc. There's not going to be computers and, okay, I'll just give you half a Bitcoin for this car or for whatever. No, you got to physically give me something for this.
How about a hug?
Hug and a kiss. That will suffice from a young lady. Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
World's oldest profession.
No, you're absolutely right. And we've been seeing like rolling blackouts in California, I think, haven't we? Not in the not too decent. Texas last year had a major problem with power cuts. New
York, it seems to happen all the time, doesn't it? Like excess demand.
And we're going to be more reliant on electricity, particularly in this country. The big push is to get us off gas and fossil fuels, and people don't seem to have worked out that the grid is not going to take everyone having electric cars. It's just not going to happen.
The fallacy of electric vehicles. I think they're wonderful in regards to like how, the 0 to 60s and all that kind of stuff. And, I guess, environmentally, it's not pumping out toxic fumes. That's a good thing. But where does electricity come from? This is what the average sheep and lemming, they just think it just comes out the ether and it's all Tesla, Nikola Tesla, and he's got like these balls in certain places and they're just getting energy. But because they've had to make the infrastructure, we have to actually pay for the free energy. I think that's what they really think. They don't know that they've got coal plants burning coal to produce electricity.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I think the other thing as well is, I was thinking about this the other day, actually, whether to buy or what it would be cost in an environmental sense for me to buy a new electric car, if you like, take into account sort of like the mining for what goes in a lithium battery. So like, it's obviously, is it nickel that goes in it and stuff?
Yeah, nickel's in there as well.
So all the sort of the mining for that, the transportation of sort of the minerals, the refining of the minerals, I assume the car is made from aluminium or something. So, mining that or wherever it's sort of processed from versus continuing to run my, what is it now? 17-year-old Honda Jazz.
Wow.
What's the, in terms of like the environmental cost of me burning a less efficient unleaded petrol engine versus, buying this brand new car with it's got to be shipped from probably the other side of the world if it's not made in the UK or whatever, and then all the other stuff that goes into it.
Definitely.
I mean, do people think about it from that perspective as well? And how many tons of carbon go into actually manufacturing their car?
All the workers driving their cars to the factory to make your new car.
There we go. Yeah.
But, I mean, if you think about it from that perspective, how many tons of carbon are in making a new car, and then how long does it take for you to then earn that carbon back, basically driving an electric car? So how many tons of carbon are you putting into the atmosphere burning unleaded petrol or diesel?
It's time to buy a second-hand Ford Mustang, whatever size engine you want, man, because whatever it is, it's going to be more environmentally friendly than buying a new electric car.
Well, it's like they had this scrappage scheme a few years ago where people scrapped perfectly good cars that were running fine for the $3,000 to get to buy a new car. And
$3,000.
It's not about the environment, is it? It's about selling new cars. And then we've seen the thing with the HP, like with mobile phones. People buy cars that they can't afford, who wouldn't be able to buy outright. But it's £400 a month. I can just about scrape that. So everyone's driving around in new cars. It's like when I were a kid, I didn't know anyone who got a new car.
No,
we certainly never had one. It's like you used to lose 30% just driving it off the forecourt.
Off the forecourt, exactly. Yeah. And they changed the model of that. Remember in the olden days, a little bit after they invented the wheel. But when people would actually buy cars with cash money.
Yeah.
With cash.
Fancy 20s.
Not go in and talk about PCP.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
is what horse
that's what
tranquilizer.
Yeah, that's what James Brown was on, wasn't it? I feel good. Oh.
It's like angel dust. Is that what it's called? I think that's what it's called.
It's the subscription model, though, isn't it? Everything is going towards a rental kind of subscription model.
You'll own nothing and you will be happy about it.
Oh,
This is the
I didn't mean
dream.
to segue into that.
This is the globalist wet dream. That you're there in your little box in your population centre. You won't buy anything. It's like, I need a whisk. You're going to go onto Amazon and some little drone will come and rent you a whisk.
It
and
might
it'll be
even just
two-
be attached.
you know-
It'll come and whisk whatever you want.
Yeah,
and then
but
go away again.
Why buy a brand new whisk for 10 Imperial credits when I can rent one for 1 Imperial credit for the day?
It makes so much sense.
It's the dream. You'll own nothing and you'll fucking love it.
You'll love it, and you want more. You'll ask for more. You'll ask for more. I want more of nothing. How do I get more of nothing? I want more. I want it more, though.
Yeah.
Well, we played the clip last week of that property developer from Toronto, whose company it's traded on the New York Stock Exchange. This guy's company, and they own 30,000 houses in the United States, and he's there saying, well, you know, the millennials, they don't want to own a house. It's too much hassle. They just want to be able to move into one of our managed properties with everything provided. I was like, fuck me, man. No, that's... Well, I mean, this is something quite... Maybe this is unique to the UK. I guess attitudes on the continent are a bit different. There's more of a renting culture on the continent. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, I would agree. But I think that's happened over a period of time now. I think historically, people have always owned, I think probably in the last maybe 20, 30 years, tops, real top end, especially over in mainland Europe, where people are like, oh, I'm going to take the responsibility of myself, make someone else rich. I mean, because let's just think about it. A mortgage, average mortgage, I don't know, let's just say the mortgage is costing you, let's say £800, the mortgage is. You're going to get someone in and they're going to be paying £1,600 or maybe £1,200. So there's by year 5, they've pretty much taken a huge chunk out of that person's mortgage. Yeah. Even if it is even in the mortgageable state, they probably have even paid it off. So this is just free money where this person is just like, yeah, I'll get the boiler serviced, I'll get the electricity checked every 5 years. Don't mash up my house though, and make sure you pay me on time. It's a weird scenario. It's a very weird scenario. For some, it can work, and unfortunately for the youngsters, like the 21-year-olds, that that's the model. You don't buy things. You lease your trainers.
Really?
Sure, yeah.
I can see.
Lease trainers?
I've seen
do you want to borrow these?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
For hiring shoes and outfits and stuff, yeah.
Oh, I remember hiring suits. I used to hire a suit because, you only wore one like once a year, if that.
No,
every time you're in court.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, though, I think like in this country, there was a big push, wasn't there, in sort of like the early 80s for people for the right to buy, wasn't there, by sort of like Thatcher and her government. And I think that's where perhaps the mentality has been, for people in the UK to own their own property is definitely sort of built upon from then. And I think then, the expectation is that you should be able to kind of afford your own place, once you're kind of working full time. And in some parts of the country, that's not possible, is it? Because of the kind of property prices and whatnot. And I think that's where it causes a problem, isn't it? When you have sort of a cultural expectation that you should be able to do something, but the economy wouldn't necessarily allow you. But, if all these people kind of who couldn't afford a house were willing to move to Burnley, you can pick up a terraced house there for like 10 grand. So, you'll be fine.
Exactly. The further north you go from the alleged capital of the UK, the cheaper the house prices are. They've got like a lot of Londoners, unfortunately, bless them. They're stuck. They're like really stuck. They think that living in concrete and like just, I can just walk and I'm here and all of the nightclubs are here. And, I'm in 30 years ago, this was a council property, but it's been sold to a developer and they've just put a new front door on there and I'm paying $2,500 a month for the privilege. That you get yourself a mortgage up in Birmingham, in Derby, in Nottingham, Manchester, a nice property for that kind of money.
Well, yeah, you would get a very nice property for $2,500 a month. Yeah. But I think that's the thing is like, if you end up paying that amount of rent, then it's very easy for you to kind of get stuck, I suppose, because you don't have the excess to save. I assume.
Good point. But you also have, it's a very technological age and world. There are people earning a ton load of money, but they think that being in London is the be all and end all.
Yeah, I suppose it's that, isn't it, as well? Moving away.
New surroundings, new start. It's challenging. I mean, I personally wouldn't move from Brum and go to London to live. I mean, I guess if I had like a goal or like work-wise that if I went to London, like my work would exponentially grow, then possibly. But again, that's a huge sacrifice to leave your family and stuff. But sometimes you have to sacrifice.
What about to go on The Apprentice? Would you not move down there to go on The Apprentice?
I'd love it. I've thought about that back in the day, going on the old Apprentice and stuff. It's fun, man.
Yeah,
it's fun. You can imagine that they're filming like 15-hour days and stuff. They got cameras shoved in their face.
Plus the producers fucking with them all day.
Absolutely. Yeah. You just edit it down to the most stupid bits for our entertainment, which I salute.
Indeed. But again, I think for the right mind, The Apprentice is really good. It gives someone like a potentially, it could give people like a drive to say, actually, wait a minute, maybe I could start making cakes and from my kitchen and make an Instagram page. And, because I do make nice cakes and cupcakes and cookies and all that kind of stuff. And you start off small, and based upon the quality of your product and your service, this may turn into an actual business where you can actually buy a premises and be a fully fledged cake person.
Absolutely. It drives innovation and kind of entrepreneurial thinking, perhaps, which is a benefit certainly.
Yeah,
it truly is. But here's the oxymoron: you've got entrepreneurs all fighting to get a contract to work for someone.
To work for Alan Sugar.
To work for someone else,
Yeah.
Fuck, I've never realised that before.
Yeah, to be subsumed into his corporate empire.
For a measly £150,000, is it?
It's 50
grand,
well,
I'll look after you though, won't I?
Like Dragon's Den's like that. We'll give you... We know you only want to give 5% of your company away, but we'll give you like half the money you desperately need for all of your business.
And all your future ideas. I like that when they do that one.
Oh, your IP, your IP belong to us.
Yeah.
Wonders of money, eh?
I actually watched a TV program this week.
Was it about Maxwell?
Was it on VHS?
No, it's currently the #1 show on Netflix.
Savile.
I watched the first episode of the Savile documentary.
Yeah, I watched it last night, actually, yeah.
Andy Savile from North End, 1998, is it?
No.
Me and my wife had a cosy night in, put on the old first episode of the Jimmy Savile.
Or Jimmy Savile, as the Americans would say.
Jimmy Savile.
Yeah, Savile.
Oof, yeah, good one.
Have you seen it, Noble?
No, I wasn't even aware such a documentary was being made.
I only heard about it on another podcast I was listening to, or on Discord or something. So I checked it out last night.
Is it as good as the Louis Theroux?
Well, I'm only one episode deep, and Well, it's creepy, man. Well, I don't. This is what bugs me. Is that like he was such an obvious creep?
Yeah. How did no one know?
Well,
okay, wait a minute, guys. Is he an obvious creep to adults or is he an obvious creep to children?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Because as a child growing up, I wanted to write a letter and go on bloody Jim will fix it, man.
Get one of those medals.
They talk about the show and how he was like a cross between Jesus and Father Christmas, in that he would make these miracles happen for children.
Yeah.
You write a letter, writing a letter to Santa Claus, and then he would make these miracles happen. And it's like, fuck. I know someone who was on it. A family friend.
Really?
Yep. When me and my brother used to share a room, we had these built wardrobes that were built into the wall, and there was like a little ice cream tub on the bottom, on the floor of the wardrobe with some like keepsake type things in it. Mm-hmm. And in this box, we had a Jim fixed it for me. Get this.
Wow.
Soap on a rope.
So no, but that was real popular in those times. Soap on a rope was real popular. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't actually use one, but I did remember seeing them in the shops.
So a friend of our family, their daughter was on the show, and it seems that when you went on, you got like a goodie bag to take home with you, and some of the gifts were soaps on a rope. So our house ended up with one. So that's my like 7 something of separation.
7 degrees of separation.
Yeah, from the vile fucking creep.
I mean, okay, Alistair Crowley or Jim will fix it. Who's the worst?
Jim.
I've got to go Jim because of I don't know what Crowley did physically.
I think he one of his daughters died through neglect. I think that's the worst thing I've read about old Alistair. Yeah.
Ooh. Would you know more about his crimes, Noble?
He did some real interesting I mean, the most bizarre thing for me was him having illicit sex with 2 women. I think one was underage, and this was was it a 24-hour period or something? Have you guys heard about this? He basically wanted to climax like as many times as possible. This is just weird. In a 24-hour period, just constantly just like doing weird stuff. Oof. And he had a proclivity for, young boys as well. And that was another thing that do what thou will be the whole law. Mm. So anything that is deemed socially acceptable, you go against that because that is personal liberation, spiritual liberation, and that is getting you closer to the, allegedly, according to his writings, the oneness.
Jeez, I didn't know he was doing underage stuff. So,
this dude that's why they called him the damn beast. He went to a very high-end school.
So Helen just said he also ate poop.
He did eat poo. Yeah, like a poo cake was made as part of this ritual.
You're not going to get on The Apprentice with that.
Alistair fixed it for me.
I mean, if you think about it, I think there would be a good match with the most belligerent hedgehog in the world, aka Sir Alan Sugar, and Alistair Crowley. I think they would make a, AC and Amstrad, like.
Yeah. Fuck.
Lamb. Do you remember Lamb? The extraterrestrial, what we class as extraterrestrial now. But he had that lamb spirit that he communicated with.
What? No.
Okay.
Alan Sugar.
No, that was Nick Hewitt, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, that was Tony Blair's wife, I'm sure it was.
Yeah. Sherry. Who's the lamb spirit?
Yeah.
So, Alistair Crowley allegedly channeled a spirit called Lamb. And the depiction of Lamb is an extraterrestrial which we know of today. minus the big eyes.
There were some drawings, weren't there? I think.
Yes. He did so much stuff. That obviously, there's links with Aleister Crowley and Helen Blavatsky. John Dee. He went to the same school as John Dee as well.
Jack Dee's brother.
Whoa. Now, this must be some sort of private grammar school or something, is it?
Exactly. I can't remember. I think he might even be called Highfields, possibly. Right. I was doing some research about Crowley and the co-option or co-opting of these so-called movements that we've had through time, from the peace and love, the psychedelics, the beatniks, the punk scene, all of these stuff. And then when you dig deeper and deeper and deeper, and you look at, like, how did these movements start? Where did they start from? Were they funded? Because you're thinking about it, or anti-war movements, the Black Power movement with the Black Panthers, who initially started off being very community focused in regards to school programs, food for the children and stuff. And then all of a sudden they get linked up with this guy, Michael Oko or whatever his name is, part of some yellow faction representing China, started feeding them all sorts of guns. And that's when you start to see this militarized Black Panther Party. It's just like everything you thought you knew, you don't know. You really don't know.
Do you think there's some sort of hidden hand that's manipulating or maybe starting these what appear to be social movements and then manipulating them as they go?
Exactly. For a purpose. It's duality, isn't it? It's to put people into boxes. It's you. Are you part of the it crew, the in crowd, or are you one of the goths and emos? We've got a place for everybody. You don't need to conform to one. Let's go back to the early 19th century. There was diversity to a point, but generally, 2.1 children, married, children, working hard. That's what you did. That's what everyone did, apart from the minority, who some would be drunks and homeless, etc., etc. But generally, everyone was trying their best to just be the best person that they can be, following that model. They fractured that constantly fracturing it, killing JFK, the Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the Iran Contra. You can see all of these things. You can see the movements against them. We can fast forward to now to Black Lives Matter, and we know exactly who's funding that.
Is it our mate Soros again?
Yeah, our mate Mr. Soros, the devil's son-in-law.
I love this Illuminati shit.
But you see, even that these, I don't necessarily like to use, Weissaps and Bavarian Illuminati terminology. This is all like cartoon stuff. The people, like the Pizzos and John, the Ford Foundation, the Rockefeller. Yeah, of course they have had a major hand in a lot of different bits and pieces. But who's behind them? Who's poking them in the ribs and saying, "Oh, wait, whoa, I don't like that. You need to do it this way."
There's always a chain, isn't it? There has to be a chain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just thinking the podcast we did the other week, and what's the name of the guest? Fucking hell, we were talking about Klaus Schwab and ESG and all that. Mark Malone. Mark Malone. He was saying like the Rothschilds were the next layer up after the Rockefellers. Have you ever looked into this 13 families stuff?
The 13 families, yes, indeed. And you know what? Again, that's base level. Well, it's not base level. It's pretty high up in regards to the pyramidical order. But for us, well, not for us. Let's remove us from the phrase or the terms. For the lay, that is the be all and end all. Like people will say Freemasonry and the Illuminati, they're running the whole thing. They're doing everything. We've got the Club of Rome. We've got the Council of Foreign Relations. We've got the Trilateral Commission. We've got so many, the Tavistock Institute. We've got Cambridge Analytica. Who are funding these corporations and these think tanks, these NGOs?
Does a lot of it go to Vanguard and BlackRock and State Street?
Yes. They're buying land like you would not believe.
Well, we were talking about this the other day, weren't we? About Bill Gates, because that story came out last year, I think, about him buying up all the farmland. And our initial reaction was back at the time, well, that's like food production he's buying. And then we twigged. It's carbon capture.
Carbon, that's it. Thank you. Yes, indeed.
Plant all these fast-growing conifers and then trade the carbon credits. That's what he's investing in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's not stupid. I mean, look at his model. Apart from stealing intellectual property and stuff, and we're not going to necessarily get into that. I mean, if you don't know Bill Gates wasn't really the brains behind Microsoft, then I don't know what world you're living in. But the model is the subscription basis. He was the one who started this with the discs, with the physical disc. You can't do anything without these physical discs. And then you're going to have updates for your Windows 95 periodically.
Yeah, and Office now, you don't get a disc. You've got to subscribe for the annual plan, £70 a year or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's funny, I was watching I've got a 10-year-old and he loves watching stuff on YouTube. And I try and be quite careful with what he's watching. And I walked in the other day and on the TV he was watching this YouTuber and he's some sort of like STEM engineering based content creator. He's like a guy in his sort of mid-30s, late 30s. And he makes these contraptions. And the video he was watching, this guy had built imagine Ninja Warrior, but for squirrels in his backyard.
Oh, yes.
And it was like a 20-minute video, and it was fascinating. You know, he was like slowing down the video, seeing what these squirrels could do, and explaining different bits. Like they can't fall to their death, squirrels. They can fall from any height, always land on the feet, and he does the super slow-mo.
I'd like to test that theory.
And he does the super slow-mo and explains how they do it and all this. And it was really interesting, cool video. And I got into it. It was great. And,
that sounds... Oh, sorry, continue.
Well, I went out the room, and then I came back maybe half an hour later, and he was watching another video by the same content creator. And he was testing his various kinds of fake meat with Bill Gates.
Oh,
get out!
What?
And they were talking about climate change and how we need to stop eating beef. We need to eat. And so at tea time, we had my famous spaghetti and meatballs, and my 10-year-old says, "Dad, next week could we try plant-based meatballs?"
Good old.
That's how long it takes to program the minds of the young. I said, Aldi, don't do him. Sorry.
Well, you're lucky he didn't say, "Dad, I want the insects. They're feeding me that shit at school. I want it at home as well."
If you'd have stopped the first video, you'd have said, "Can we have squirrel balls next week?"
Maybe you should make him watch Blade Runner, Phil. That'd sort him out and get him to work. See the protein farm.
Oh yeah.
Hey, let's go one better. Soylent
Green, yeah.
It's Soylent Green.
It just shows you how careful you have to be with your kids and what content they watch, because they don't call it programming for nothing.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. And we also need to be careful with the words we use.
I have a problem with this because I'm so careless. Explain what you mean by choosing your words.
Well, if we think about spells, witches and warlocks, they cast spells, which is letters put together which form words. So if I'm going to disrespect a woman, what word would I use?
Cunt.
Cunt. That's one. We could also, there's a B word as well, right?
Yep.
Blonde?
Well, depending on what color hair she's got.
Apologies.
So a female dog is a word that you would use to disrespect a woman, right?
Yeah.
Historically. Now we fast forward to the Gregorian year of 2022, and women, unfortunately, embrace that term and will use the term like as a term of endearment. Like, I am a bad female dog.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
I see.
Right?
Is that not taking it back, though?
Yeah, I think that's
isn't that reappropriation of the, or yeah, well,
do you not buy that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, women's liberation and all that. Women, yeah. I mean, look what happened with that. So women's liberation, burning bras and all that kind of stuff. And the promotion was, we want equality. And equality is going to look like us having unprotected sex and having no consequences apart from obviously getting pregnant if you're going to do that, and maybe catching diseases. But we should be able to do that because it's women's liberation. It was a sexual liberation, women's liberation. That's what it was. It was no, we're not just going to do missionary anymore. I want to do the most depraved things possible. I've seen it on the cinema. Betty told me about it. It wasn't about, I want to work. Some of it was, don't get it twisted. There was something about, taxation for women. That's why the main thing was pushed to allow women to do what they were doing. Taxation. So then back to the words that which have power. So we've established that some people and some women will say, yes, I use the term bitch because I'm taking the power away from its negative connotations, even though the term bitch means female dog. Okay. So then we have kid, baby goat. But it's accepted to call our children baby goats. It's accepted for women to call each other a baby pig and call them a babe. Oh, it's okay, babe. You're right, babe. Yeah. How's it going, Doc? You're right, Doc. See, so we all of these slang terms that we're holding and it's empowering, or it's not even empowering. It's just a term of endearment. These are all animal terms. Like, a cute little baby rabbit bunny. Okay, there's nothing too crazy about that. But are we calling each other bunny? Hey, cute little bunny, how you doing today? It's dogs. It's dogs. Like, oh, you're a bad man. You're a dog. You are, because you're having relations with all these women. You're a dog. You're a male dog. She's a female dog.
There's loads. What about bears, cougars?
Cougars, yeah.
Yes.
Otters.
Okay.
What's an otter? Where's an otter's pocket?
Snake.
Bear and otter are in the gay community, aren't they? So a bear is like a big hairy guy, and I think an otter's like a young hairy guy.
All right. Kind of
a young, small hairy guy, something like that.
Waterborne.
Okay.
Animal names. You're right. There's loads. Yeah, mare.
Yes. Yeah, you silly mare. Come on. Didn't you know? Come on, guys.
Silly goose.
You're having a giraffe.
But wait a minute, with that one, isn't that more rhyming Cockney? That's like rhyming Cockney, right?
No, I'm having it still.
You're having a mare.
You're having a giraffe if you think that's wrong.
So why do we do that? What's the to play devil's advocate, what's the detriment to that?
Let's use the latter, which was kid. You're calling your child a kid, and I'm not talking about you. We're talking about hypothetically.
Yeah.
we call children. Some people call their children kids, and they say, "Yeah, man, I love my kid, and like I try and invest so much time into my kid, but he's just bad, man. I don't know what I don't know what's going on. I try my best." Okay, well, outside of examining what you're doing physically, emotionally to grow and raise your child, you're constantly calling him a baby goat. You're a baby goat, baby goat, baby goat. Come here. Baby goat, come here. You talk to this friend. Yeah, my baby goat, my baby goat. So psychologically, for some, not all, they're in an animal sort of mindset now. Like, oh, fuck it, man. I'm not human. We can call the kid subconsciously, not consciously, subconsciously. I'm an animal. I'm an untamed gorilla. You've heard that term. That's stupid. I'm like, untamed gorilla. Okay. Shouldn't you be like just a normal human being kind of thing? With some extraordinary skills, possibly?
It's this thing we have of anthropomorphizing, isn't it? It's a common
very true
part of our psychology, it seems. I don't know. I don't know. I guess, why do we do that? Why do we anthropomorphize everything?
I don't know.
Because
we relate.
Yes. I mean, like, going back to, like, I guess before writing and stuff, you would, like, you could communicate and stuff. So you would see and you would reference, like, a big brown bear, for instance, because of its power, its majestic capabilities to climb bloody trees and hibernate and, eat its own fur to create a little stop so he doesn't, all of these wonderful things. So, like, that's the anthropomorphization of that great object, that great animal even. But then it's watered, it becomes nothing then, because we're like little fleshy creatures in little boxes with Wi-Fi signals bouncing everywhere. We've got Bluetooth everywhere, 3G up to 5G and 6G. We're not capable of going out into the forest and living and getting food and hunting and skinning that thing and storing produce for winters and stuff. We're so far removed from that the anthropomorphize, I can't even get the words out. That term has been just destroyed. So it's, okay, I'm a penguin. I'm a penguin today. And then tomorrow, I'm actually blind tomorrow.
Now, this is serious because this is actually happening with the millennials.
Yeah.
It's, what's the term for it? It's not it's not gender.
Youthful exuberance.
No, it's like I identify as cat gender today.
I don't know.
I think it started with furries. So young kids started getting into furries. And
they passed a law about that.
What? Have they?
In America, obviously only in America. I think it's was it in California, San Francisco, maybe, or something like that. In a school, you have to, in this particular school district or this one school, you have the furry thing specifically. They're allowed to, the children, and I don't know what the age range was, but for me, they have to be, like early teens or something like that. But the furries can sit at the feet of the teachers. You have to call them furries, and they get these other privileges. And there's an outrage about it now. Of course, rightfully so.
Only in
America. Where to begin with that.
Only in America.
Only. It's. I mean, look. They tried the what's it called? Gay story time thing. They did that down in Portsmouth or something, didn't they?
I don't know.
You got oh shit, okay. Breaking news for you guys in. So last year, I'm sure it was last year, 21 or maybe even 20, they had some man dressed up in drag, like a transvestite in essence, what we grew up knowing what transvestites are. He was a transvestite, and he was parade. He had a huge dildo. Did he have a huge dildo? Was this the one? Yeah, he had a huge dildo. Like out, obviously. And a lot of the parents were disgusted with it. Some not. But they tried it here. I thought it would only be America, but they did try it.
Was this like a pride thing?
No, this was at a school, gentlemen.
What was he teaching with a big dildo?
Yeah. This is at school.
I mean, I don't think hopefully the Church of England school will get someone in with a massive dildo. I pray to God the first time in 25 years.
I don't think it would have been an RC either.
No.
I remember our teacher putting a condom on a banana. Do you remember that, Matt? Ben?
No.
It's the only memory I have from school.
And you can
Was
tell.
it a male teacher?
No, it's
or
a female, and she was mortified doing it.
She did it. Yeah, she did it with her mouth.
Oh, now I remember.
Was it peeled or unpeeled?
Details.
Oh my god!
I take it this was secondary school, right?
This is a very vague memory for me.
Seems like
Phil.
only
I mean,
yesterday.
Yeah, it was in the assembly hall at our secondary school.
Was it?
Yeah, that's how I remember it.
I seem to remember something, a very vague memory of like, what was it called? Was it called PSC?
PS8.
Personal and social education or something, was it called?
Yeah, and I just remember maybe something in like a classroom. Yeah, putting a condom on her.
Yeah, just one-on-one, yeah.
Yeah, in a cupboard.
This is it. Yeah. You just come with me. You come with me, man. I've got like.
I forgot the banana.
What are we gonna do?
Okay, so I think when I was at secondary school, I think this was second year. So that would be, in modern terms, it would be like year 8, right. I think, I guess.
Yeah.
We had something called sex education. It was really old school. It wasn't PSE. And they showed quite graphic videos at times, bordering on the line of pornography.
Fuck.
And yeah. And they even had, I remember, this is literally just popped into my head, they had a camera. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they did this, especially back then in the 80s. They had a camera inside of a woman's bits.
Them big BBC one.
You seen it as well then, right?
No, I just like an 80s camera is obviously massive. I don't know.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I think I've seen the same video.
Yeah. That was disgusting. It was what?
That was the idea. They were trying to put us off.
Yeah.
Population control. And we're back around again.
He was more from Big House.
I have to say, it's hard right now.
It didn't work because in the 90s they were encouraging little, as young as possible. As soon as you started to get, become a woman of sorts, to go and have a baby because they'll give you a flat.
Oh man!
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, the benefit trap.
Sure Start was it? Or
well,
was that later?
You can you can understand it because from from a statist's point of view, they don't want to see children going hungry or being homeless.
No.
So you can understand it from that, but you get these sort of perverse situations where there's this perverse incentive for a man and a woman to get together and have a baby, and then for the man to live somewhere else because the woman will then be taken care of to an extent. And so you have these unintentional, maybe unintended, maybe not, unintended consequences of the policy.
diminished responsibility on the part of the father in that scenario, right? Or was it a union by design, particularly for the?
That's what I don't know. Right. I think so it'll depend from different individuals. I think some individuals probably did it intentionally, and others probably obviously didn't.
Yeah.
It's a spectrum of people. We're all individuals.
Indeed. And I think, the biggest thing is that I don't think anyone can prepare to be a pair rent. 2 pairs of people who rent a child for a certain period of time, and you instill as much knowledge, love, wisdom, guidance into this being. And once they reach the mature age of 16 plus, well, I guess it's 18 now, isn't it? Or was it 21? Because we get all these strange American things, challenge 21 and all this. And
I think it's 30 for men.
And you know at that point the brain, the frontal lobe has fully formed.
It's myself out.
Well, I don't think mine has quite yet.
I don't either.
No, I think it's a bit lopsided, mine.
Well, you guys have got at least 5 more years. You got 5 more years at least, man. Like, come on.
Let's get to what?
Let's get to 30.
Oh my God!
What a legend!
That's the best thing anyone's ever said to me. Oh no!
Oh, you can come back every week if you want. No.
These youngsters on here, man. You know.
Can't even remember that far back. Is that when the banana was? It's my only point of reference.
Wait a minute. I'm thinking of it now. Wasn't it Acacia Drive?
That's Banana Man, yeah. Eric.
Knew I'd seen him before.
Oh, man. Good old Banana Man, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Eric.
Oh. I've got a T-shirt somewhere.
Banana Man T-shirt. This podcast, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
He's legendary. Along with Super. Was it Super Gran? Remember Super Gran?
Oh, I don't remember Super Gran.
Oh, do you know? I've just had a flashback to what we talked about last time. The fucking Cities of Gold.
Oh, that's classic. That's why. That's dope. That shit. Esteban and them.
Yeah, man. We can't do it again. What other 80s cartoons were there?
Jason and the Wheeled Warriors.
Oh shit!
Jason and the Wheeled Warriors. Yeah. He was trying to find the magic route to be reunited with his father. But unfortunately, Sawboss and the Monster Mines were always on his tail.
George Sawboss.
George Soros. Hey, tell you what, that was a bit of environmental pre-programming as well. Jason the Wheel Warriors.
What about Captain Planet?
Here we go. Captain Planet, yes.
Gonna take pollution down to zero.
Net zero.
Hey, but okay, guys. Surely, when that was coming out, and we had, remember the old wood bins with the little slats, little tubular, those wood bins, and you have the little symbol of the bin and a little matchstick man putting rubbish in there.
Yeah.
Captain Planet was out. Flipping Newsround was on with John Craven. Yeah. Mm. And there was a little section on there that they used to talk about the environment. I'm sure they used to, every other thing they used to talk about the environment in some capacity. And I was a nut back then. I was an environmental nut. Mm. And yeah, man, I am kind of still today in regards to littering.
Mm.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Cannot stand people who litter. But from that point of view, I think that's where I get it from Captain Planet. Do you remember? Okay, here's one. The Smoggies. Do you remember the Smoggies?
Fuck yeah.
Oh, maybe vaguely.
Yeah, were they on a boat?
Yes.
And they're pumping diesel into the ocean?
Yes, indeed. And the little short bastards on the island were like, F you and the horse you came in on. Don't pollute the water.
And another one, environmental pre-programming, the raccoons.
Yeah.
Remember the raccoons? So, the spiel comes at the beginning. This is Bert, and he lives in the evergreen forest in nature where everything's perfect. But look, there's Cyril Sneer, the filthy capitalist. The filthy capitalist with his polluting cigar. Fuck. It's like industrialist, like the embodiment of a capitalist industrialist who's the evil terror. Yeah, we had this all the way through the 80s and 90s in our childhood.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be, you know, cartoons like that or collecting tin aluminium cans for Blue Peter.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, shit. The aluminium can.
Do you remember the ozone?
The ozone layer.
Yes,
That was the big thing.
Hey, wait a minute. The ozone, does that still exist, though, Matt?
It's all gone, mate.
It's kind of healed itself, hasn't it? That was the whole thing. So if they got rid of CFCs, it would begin to heal itself. That was always on Blue Peter. It was always the rainforest.
Yeah.
And the ozone were the two big ones that I can remember.
Acid rain as well.
Oh, acid rain, yes.
Acid fucking rain.
It sounds terrifying.
Well, yeah, give you nightmares, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, but think about it. As youngsters, when you first heard the term acid rain, did you not think that shit's gonna burn through fucking cars and?
Yeah. I've seen Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or whatever, or Swamp Thing. I'm thinking of like Toxic Waste sort of cartoon things.
Toxic Crusader was one. I think.
No. Toxic Avenger.
Toxic Avenger.
That's it.
With his one eye half hanging out his head, that was scary, man. Fuck. He had a mop. He was a janitor, wasn't he?
That's right. At a school.
What's this? What's the Toxic Avenger?
Do you remember?
Oh, well, you missed it.
You missed it.
Shit.
You must have been watching The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
No,
Something age
no.
appropriate.
What was the one with the penny? Not the cartoon. The fucking
the 50
George and the Penny or something. Fuck was it? No. Was it 50 pence actually? Was it
the Queen's nose,
It's
wasn't
the
it?
Queen's nose you're talking about, aren't you, surely?
Yeah, the girl was called Melody or Harmony, something musical.
Yeah.
Stave.
I think we should approach the BBC and write.
Sorry. Come here, Clef.
Oh my god. Fuck. Well, no, but we've done over an hour already.
Yeah.
Time flies and you're getting high, innit?
As usual, we ended up talking about cartoons from the 80s.
It's the best way.
It is the best way.
Everything from the 80s and 90s was just classic, man. I wish we could all have access to DeLorean, kick Marty and Doc out, and go back.
You've reignited my passion to go and rewatch The Cities of Gold. I think that's on my bucket list for April.
Do it.
Listen, that should be on everyone's bucket list, and most importantly, do you remember in the UK, it used to come on at the start, but on the DVD box set, it comes on at the end, and it'd give you like a little like a visual of Brazil or some ancient flipping like Indians or some shit. That was so inspirational and educational. This Mysterious City of Gold.
It was.
Bring it back.
Fucking reboot.
Bring back
live action reboot.
Yeah.
We got the tech.
Right, we're gonna cast that in part 2.
We'll do it.
We'll cast it. What have you got coming up, Noble? I was listening to your 2-part one with Maria Wheatley. Is it Maria Wheatley?
Yes, that's very interesting.
Yeah, right up our street. That I'm gonna have to get your details for her because we love for ancient mysteries and history and all that sort of ley lines and earth energies and all that. What have you got 100%. Coming? What have you got in the pipeline?
I have. Well, today I interviewed a young lady who does mixed martial arts. She does kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, and Muay Thai. Highly decorated. Amateur in MMA, but pro in Muay Thai, I think, and kickboxing.
Nice.
Wow.
She's just on a wrecking season. So just sort of high capping and highlighting achievements and, what the next plan is, what's the next big plans. I've got Esoteric Eddie coming up.
All right. Yeah, I've heard this name before. Was he on Tinfoil Hat or something recently?
He was on Tinfoil Hat indeed. Yes, indeed, sir.
Cool.
Very interesting gentleman. Lots in the pipeline. I'm trying to, as per the constant DMs, I will be having some more adults entertainers on, most definitely.
Yeah.
People seem to be very infatuated with them.
Well, it's such a sort of unique lifestyle, isn't it, for ordinary Joes like us? It's like a different world, the adult entertainment industry, isn't it?
It truly is, and as you know, I approach and tackle the conversations very differently to many others who would have the same guest on. So it's not just I rarely even talk about the actual act itself.
Yeah.
It's all about the exploration of the human experience.
Ooh, tantric.
101.
Cool. Yeah.
Where's the best place for people to find your stuff?
All major podcast platforms. BitChute, I mainly put all the videos on there. Yeah. Occasionally, I'll put a few on the old BoobTube, but because of the shadow banning and being proudly one of the most banned network in the UK. So yeah, podcast is the best way. So your favorite podcast, I would recommend Podcast Addict if you are new to listening to podcasts. Excellent app.
Yep. Yeah, solid. Yeah. Just
type in CFR Network and into the old Google, and I should pop up.
Yeah, well, we'll put links in the show notes anyway. I've already found your BitChute channel and Spotify and stuff. So, yeah, whatever you're listening to this on, just search for CFR News. Is that the term? Best
CFR
term,
Network.
CFR
Network. I took the news off because I was cyber attacks, and then I've now got people creating fake profiles on Instagram. I'm so happy. I'm doing my job.
Yeah. I'm on it.
Yeah.
Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Exactly. Gentlemen,
cool.
Thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Yeah. We should institute these at least every 3 months or so and have a little catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well up for that. Cool. Well, I'm gonna stop streaming now then, unless there's anything else.